his question before I come to.
I think as a professional, if your client is giving you a substandard material as a professional, you should reject and explain to him why you cannot go ahead and use substandard materials. And one thing, again, is that because you are a registered engineer, you have something at stake in case there is any building collapse. Your certificate will be withdrawn, and that means that is the end of your professional life if care is not taken. So for registered professionals, I think they are very conscious of that. And that is why the issue of quackery should be tackled in Nigeria. A quack has no stake. So he has no registration with CORED or with any professional body. And so he can afford to use substandard materials in constructing a building without thinking or blinking an eyelid. So that is that about that question. So what other one?
There are other questions. Some engineers on site in Nigeria are not directly involved in the job. They come to site as if they are going to occasion. Most of the professionals are not trained for practicals from schools. I mean, how do you dress when you go for inspection?
Yeah, but how does that help?
You know, some people, they just come like that, they wear agbada and all that stuff, and you believe that they are actually going to work.
It's like
they dress as if they're going for, what's it called now? Wedding.
I really don't think that is correct. It depends on the task for that day. Like if I want to attend management meeting, it's not all about an engineer going to site wearing jeans or smart dress. Now, there are some days that you want to have meetings on site. Then there is nothing wrong if you wear suits.
Yes, I think that's just it. But let us look at more important factors. And
all right.
NIBRI has quite. I'm impressed with the recommendations. Like we said earlier, in enforcement. So I'm just going to ask DG, what do you do with all of these recommendations? Do they just gather dust, just as I'm saying you've brought a good number? What are they doing in your shelf?
Thank you. As I mentioned earlier, there is no building collapse that occurs because NIBRI does not go there to carry out maybe a test, to carry out a report, to come out with recommendations. Our presence are always felt when there's building collapse. And after that, we carry samples from the building collapse site, we take it to a lab, we analyze, we come out with recommendations. From recommendation, we bring out a report like this. We identify our relevant stakeholders. All our stakeholders, we give them copies of this report. NIBRI, by our mandate, we are not responsible for enforcement. We cannot arrest you, but we can create awareness.
Who, for which of the professional regulators?
All the regulators, COREN, we give them sample. NSC, we send copies to NSC at their headquarters. We send it to FCDA.
To put on
no, we give them to read, to look at our outcomes, to look at our recommendations. This is what we think.
What do you expect COREN to do with them?
So COREN, where you get recommendations from?
Yes, I want to know what he expects COREN to do.
No, what do you do with...
No, maybe let me
yes, what do you expect COREN to do?
You can see the recommendations cut across almost every profession and every sector. The one that concerns bringing out specialists that takes care of approval of building plan. It's left for the government to know who to be given that responsibility of approving the building plan. For us, we have brought out a recommendation. How it is done, we cannot tell the government.
What do you expect COREN to do with some of the recommendations?
COREN, where it concerns them, they should take adequate measure to ensure that what is recommended is put in place.
Okay. So what do you do with the recommendations?
Very good. Thank you.
When we have such reports from NIBRI and even from our own team at the technical, state technical committees, like Lagos said, we have reports from different sources. Normally, when you have these reports, then we have what we call the ERM committee, Engineering, Regulation and Enforcement Committee. We will review the reports, and then we will now identify professionals, in our own case, engineers, We are not responsible for the architect, for the builders, for the town planners. They have their own similar regulatory bodies. But for the engineers, we now identify who are involved in right from the design of this building up to the point of construction, and then a certification for habitation, and then handing over. Now, if we identify them and it has collapsed, then we will invite them. We will have another thorough investigation, and that will lead us to tribunal. Once if this report is sufficient enough, we'll use it, and then we'll escalate it, we submit it to the tribunal. The tribunal usually has what we call an assessor. It's a son that leads that tribunal. It's a group of about experts from all disciplines of engineering. The last assessor that chairs our tribunal is the current Attorney General and Minister of Justice. That's the last person. Justice Pabami, he's the last assessor of current tribunal. Now, what do we do at the tribunal? We will bring out the infractions where somebody is supposed to do his job, like the DJ explained. There are many of them. There are many stages. We will interrogate you. We will ask you to bring the design, to bring everything at the design level. We'll ask you to bring your schedule of supervision, to bring your checklist if it is at the construction level. We'll ask you to bring the laboratory that did the geotechnical testing and what have you. So all the we have a standard checklist that we will use to validate who is culpable. Once we identify the culpability of the person, then in our law, we have the sanctions. Some, is suspension, some is withdrawal of license. So that's why I'm saying that reasonably, most of the the regulatory bodies, we do this bit of our work.
And within the ambit of your mandate,
yes.
And, do you have the capacity, both human and financial capacity, to carry out all of this?
No, we don't. Interestingly,
so there's a gap.
Yes, there's a serious gap. Interestingly, a lot of these things, like the state inspection visit, involves funding. The sitting of the investigation panel involves, of course, money, and then the sitting of the tribunal. Now, interestingly for you to know is that 2023, Korean is among those regulatory bodies that were defunded. We are not funded again by government, and we are expected to be doing a lot of this. And the issue of the whistleblowing, so we are engaging whistleblowers, intelligence and surveillance task force officers. So all these are things that, unless and until you have these.
So how do you respond to perform all these functions now?
Well, we have to scale it down because we are battling now to even pay salary of our staff. We have we have offices in all the 36 states. We have regional offices in the 6th region, in Ibadan, in Kano, in Port Harcourt, in Lagos, in Gombe, and here at FCT. So you can easily imagine that we have been removed from funding at all. So a lot of these things that we used to be doing, like I think for the last 2 years, the tribunal have not sat. One, because the assessor is now the Minister of Justice, so we have asked him to appoint, because it is the Minister of Justice that appoint the assessor, to appoint his replacement. And then we don't have even the funding to call the meeting, because when you are calling the meeting, people come all over the country to come and see for 2-3 days, and you know what that takes. These are senior people that will come because they are adjudicating cases of their own colleagues, and they are going to sanction the person and what have you. So these are the part of the constraint we have in terms of...
So is this, this conversation we're having now, is it likely to be another conversation with the gaps and your capacity to perform this task? Is it just going to be the same conversation?
I hope not, because you see, to me, there are two likely pathways. This issue of our ability to discharge our responsibility, and I believe it is the same thing with the other professional bodies. This is one. Second is the issue of the expansion of the legislative scope. Like somebody mentioned, we have already, gathered a lot of new positions, like insuring buildings. At what floor should we, insist that the developer or the client or the owner must be able to now insure the building? At second or third floor, And there are a lot of things that we are trying to attach.
Yes, that's Dr. Idris.
You know,
Abbas.
and then when you finish a building, we are already advocating that we should be able to see whereby there is a testing and then there is certification for habitation. And so that when there is a testing, validation and verification, and then there is a certificate given for habitation, the person that did the testing will be held accountable because they have certified that it is, And then when we are now saying that the issue of the laboratories, we must be able to provide laboratories across the country, that are accessible to SON to test the substandard materials, to all the development control offices across the country. So there are a lot of issues, not only to us as professional bodies, but to the other stakeholders. One of the most functional laboratory, I must admit, is NIBRI has a very functional laboratory for testing, construction building materials. And we have some few privates that we accredit.
Unfortunately, we don't have any government, officials here to respond to some of those issues. But we, some of the respondents.
Yes, please. So that we can get done with the president.
Yeah, we don't have much money. We just have
the report on the collapsed building in Jabi district. The report. The finding says the average depth of foundation was found to be below 1.2 meters, and the lowest depth was 0.8 meters, which is too shallow for such a structure. It was also discovered that the structure was just lying on virtual topsoil and others. I mean, this is not the handiwork of a quack. This is apparently, this building, was not constructed by quacks. They're constructed by qualified professionals, some of whom probably belong to Koren. I'm sure you must have seen this. Yes. Have there been sanctions or with regards to this case?
Yeah, I want to eschew some words. When you say it is done by professionals.
Professionals.
Yeah.
Some of whom.
Yeah. For us, there was a time you said you want me to clarify to you what is a quack.
Yes.
Yeah, you see, somebody may claim to be an engineer.
Okay.
But is he registered? Is he certified? Does he have the current practicing license? This is what makes you a certified professional. If, for instance, you graduated 20 years ago and you have not undergone what we call mandatory professional development activities, what the lady is saying that they're having this training and what have you. Because engineering is dynamic. Like any other profession, you must update yourself. If you haven't done that, you will not be able to go and update your practicing license. So as far as you are concerned, you are a quack.
Okay.
You are a quack.
Okay, let me just ask this.
And sorry, sir. There are another dimension of quack because it's important. If you are a civil engineer, a structural engineer who are supposed to be involved in most of this building, and then you are a water resource, let's say you are an agri engineer or you are a metallurgical engineer and you are given this work to do, and you do it, you are a quack. Okay. Even if you are certified. Yes. Because we respect speciality.
Okay, specialty.
We respect speciality. Civil engineer, structural engineer, mechanical engineer, electrical engineer are mainly, and of course safety engineer, are mainly the ones involved in most of this building business. Now, if you have other qualified, like electronic engineer, if electronic engineer come and play the role of structural engineer, it's a quack.
Okay.
As far as we are concerned.
All right.
And so we will discipline him at the tribunal because he shouldn't have accepted that job. Because when you register and license in Koren, you specify your area of speciality. So you are going to practice in those areas of speciality only.
So we have a better knowledge of what a quack is now. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. President, for that. Gukas Peter from Jos says, if the 20% can stand on the right things to be done, the 80% cannot do anything unless the 20% compromised.
Well, we just...
Agreed.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Just...
Now, the issues of building collapse are embarrassing to us as a nation. Government should introduce what we call national building and safety emergency officers to regulate activities of the industries. In Nigeria, everybody is an engineer. The highly connected client will never comply with regulations. How true is that?
That's very true.
Oh, it's very true. Okay.
They are in the 80s.
They are in the okay.
Those
They
are
are in the
the
80s.
Yes.
Okay.
Those are in
Ose
the
from Abakaliki says most builders compromise quality by using substandard materials, while some government agencies are not supervising properly.
That's also true.
Well, the Zoom guest.
Yes, just 60 seconds for Nimot, and then we'll just conclude. 60, maybe 30 seconds. Nimot, so tell us why Lagos is on the chart. It's on the top chart of building collapse, in spite of all that you're doing. In 30 seconds, if you may, or if you can.
All right. So, yeah, we have influx of people coming in, every second. So, and they are all looking for accommodation. So the housing demand is high, and sometimes the system is overwhelmed, and that's why it's on the increase. I mentioned that it's not only building collapse, it's even infrastructure collapse. That's why you see people living under the bridge, undermining the integrity of the bridge, for example. People overcrowding a structure, undermining the integrity of the structure as well. So the influx of people is in high demand. The accommodation is in high demand, requires infrastructure, and maybe the hands on ground are not overwhelmed, but the partnership with governments and relevant agencies will definitely address this, and also the collaboration with the academia, which we do through through career talks to even students, and also empowering the higher institution by taking the students for technical talk. So Lagos will always be on the charts, and I can assure you that we're up to task. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank
you. Claire, when you tell a woman to talk for 30 seconds, and you are wired to talk.
Yes, and because professors do not also respect time. They don't have time.
Dr. Adeyemi, let's have your 30 seconds. You will see the man now. We'll stick to 30 seconds.
I think there should be collaboration between the different professional bodies, first of all, and even the government agencies. And we can see from what the president of Korean said, they should be funded.
Okay.
Thank you.
They should be funded.
Yeah, the crux of the matter is the building that collapsed in Lagos. We're meant to understand the building is existing within an estate, and the ground floor is used as a restaurant. One, if property like this is given to you, before you use it, there is the need for you to carry out what we call integrity tests. Is this building convenient and comfortable? Can I use it? That's
yes,
number one.
What's your recommendation?
Number two, again, since the building is existing within an estate, all the buildings within that estate, the quality is in doubt. Okay. They need to be subjected to integrity tests for us to be sure that the quality of the building is
Thank
standard.
you, DG. Okay, President Koren.
Well, for me, I would emphasize that the collaboration, a very deeper synergy among the regulators in the construction and the built environment is imperative. And we have started doing that between Cobon, COMEC, and ACON. And then second, we will not be able to do exactly what is expected of us if we don't have the appropriate funding for us to be able to enforce what we know is impossible.
Well, thank you very much, Professor Sadiq Zubair Abubakar, current president. Thank you so much for your contribution this morning.
Thank you so much.
Also, I want to thank Professor Samsi Duna, DG CEO, Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute, NIBRE. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me also thank National President, Construction and Civil Engineering, Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Dr. Ayodeji Adeyemo, who decided to stay throughout the program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
And Engineer Nimot Mwili, Chairman, Nigerian Society of Engineers, Ikeja Branch. Thank you so much for your perspective.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, and that's Good Morning Nigeria for us this Wednesday. Thank you very much, and thank you all of you who sent in your requests. Please don't forget, tomorrow is another day. I'll be here, and Demola will be here as well.
Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye.